welcome to the show, folks.
Hello.
We are coming off of Raw on Netflix. Woo! What a show. We got a ton to talk about, so buckle in. Before we get too deep into this, two things. One, I want to let you know that this episode is sponsored by DraftKings. We're going to hear more from them later in the show. And we have a Patreon, patreon.com/Stache Club. Wrestling has nothing to do with this episode. It is an entirely bonus wrestling Q&A and just other sort of chat over on Patreon, patreon.com/Stache Club Wrestling. For $5 a month, you get the full catalog.
It's a fun time.
With that said, Dante, we have Raw to go over. We got SmackDown to go over, which I thought was a great SmackDown that really got overshadowed by like the Netflix hype.
First 3 hour SmackDown.
I don't know. Do you want to just do we just dive in here? I think it's going to be a long one.
Let's start with the hottest topic. Let's talk about Raw on Netflix.
All right. The first thing I have here is I want to talk about the new look. There's a couple things that are new. One, it's the black mat with the logos and the white ropes. We have this was arena specific, but I still liked it for the premiere. The lights in the
the red lights. I thought that was such a nice
Someone
touch.
was telling me that like it's the cup holders have the LEDs in them, or they're somewhere in the seats. You know what I mean?
Make sense. Yeah, no, that was sick.
You were telling me before the show that that's where the Clippers play. I'd be curious if like they changed the colors for
right.
Well, the Clippers are still have red in them, but like
red and blue usually they're. I don't know. I'm sure they change it up though.
Stage setup is really sick. Kind of like the lowered screen or the
It's like on ground level.
Very Royal Rumble sort of setup. Announce tables have really cool lightings and they look real strong.
They don't look like
they don't look breakable. That's my whole thing about the whole night.
Those look like they hurt when you fall on them big time.
And then they had this like cool CGI kind of like they'd show above the arena and the CGI like lights
like the
were
Cena,
really cool.
Like the Cena logo they showed and everything. Yeah. That was dope.
What do we? I mean, like. Everything I think is great. I guess the main talking point is how do you feel about the mat? We haven't really talked about. We'll talk about the blue one over on SmackDown. We haven't talked about the mats. The news kind of came out, I think, like over the weekend about what the mats were looking like.
I think it's something where at first it might be an eyesore, and it's something that it's like, oh, I don't like this. This is so different than what we're used to. But as someone that like. I watch UFC and MMA all the time. It's like that's what their ring is. And I feel like it's something that we will get used to. I definitely think there are a few sponsors on the mat that I could do without. The Fortnite
being in the middle
in the center is insane.
It's crazy.
It's insane. Yeah. I'm shocked.
It's nuts.
I mean, I get it. It probably because of money, but I'm surprised Netflix just didn't have their logo right in the center of the screen. I feel like that would have made most sense, but Fortnite definitely paid a bag for it.
I wonder how often those logos are going to change. Like I wonder. I mean, obviously, like there's contracts, but like
yeah, maybe like certain like PLEs, maybe like some get taken off, maybe some are for just or like television.
6 months go by, the Fortnite deal ends, and then that gets replaced by Mountain Dew.
Right? Yeah. I mean, the Hulk Hogan beer one, they said it's like a multi-year deal. I don't know if that means like
real American beer.
Yeah, real American. All right. I don't know if that means just like in general, like on the mat. So yeah, it might be something that there was no Prime either, and that was like the first sponsor. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe they'll change it up.
My guess is the contract probably ended at the New Year's.
I don't have as big of an issue with it as other people might. Do I prefer just a clean mat, nothing on it? Sure, but this doesn't bother me as much.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say I like it.
Like, I get why people don't like it.
I'm with you in the sense of when I was watching it. I think the black mat helps it be a little more subtle.
Sure.
If it was a white mat with all the logos, I think it'd be a little more jarring. The black mat helps. Watching it, like I'd say like 7, I'll say 6 or 7 of the camera angles out of like the 10 they use are from like an angle where it's not like coming down.
You're not looking directly on the logos. Yeah.
I don't love that now iconic moments in history now have like a Fortnite logo and like whatever.
Thing. Yeah, like Roman Reigns was going to hit a concerto on the Soul. It was like on the Fortnite logo.
Yeah.
I was like, he's going to hit it on the logo. Yeah, that I do agree with that.
I get the UFC argument. I think the UFC argument sounds more to me like people and you are just like used to it.
Yes.
And also like the Octagon don't know if it's like larger, but like the octagon feels larger, and it just feels like it feels like that makes more sense.
Sure.
The ring feels more condensed, and like it being a square is kind of more focused.
Sure. Yeah, I get that.
And my argument to that is looks ugly in UFC too.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, with UFC, they do have like the white mat, so like if they have like it does stand out like a sore thumb. Like it's not like with WWE, they did a good job of being able to mask it a little bit. Like
I think with UFC it works because the guys are already wearing logos on all their pants too.
Right,
so it's like, you know.
And again, I think it's something that people will get. I think that's just what's inevitable. It's like I think wrestlers might start getting like, you know, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. It's I understand the hatred or the dislike of it, but it is what it is.
All right, we'll move on from kind of the look. Anything else? Like I said, I like everything else about the look. Like the announce tables are great. The CGI was great.
I was a huge fan. I was a huge fan of everything.
All right, let's go over to, I would say, what the most controversial part of the show is. Maybe not the most controversial. Yeah.
To start off the show, though,
The Rock kicks off the show after Triple H does his song and dance.
With the 5 o'clock shadow too. Rock hadn't changed in a few days.
Well, he was coming from the Golden Globes the night, like
with
previous.
him and Vin had a little.
Hey Dwayne.
Hey Dwayne.
Hey Dwayne.
Rock cuts the Rock. He's like smiling. It goes to a straight face.
It was just so awkward. He was standing there. Hey Dwayne.
He's like looking at everyone. It's like that's the guy that he says hi to. It was. But yeah, The Rock was there.
Very standard company man promo. Welcome to Netflix. I'm The Rock. Blah blah.
Board of directors promo for sure.
And then he's like, someone I bled with, someone I went to war with. And at first I was like, is he talking about Cena? Is he talking about like Stone Cold? He was talking about Cody. Cody's sitting in the front row. Gives props to Cody, gives props to the world champion after his little. Well, he also gives an acknowledgement to Roman Reigns. He said, "I acknowledge him as my tribal chief."
It's like the match hadn't even happened yet. Of like who's gonna be the true tribal chief.
Too.
I was like, okay, he's saying this, but we're still gonna find out if he is tribal chief later on.
So that's already putting him in Roman's corner.
Yep.
And then at the end of the promo, he goes and hugs Cody in the audience.
Yeah, they did do that. They did do that.
World was this?
So I'm trying to have a glass half full optimistic perspective on this. I'm trying to think, or I want to think that there's nothing that happens like in a part of her story that doesn't connect at the end, at least with this bloodline story. It's like everything that we may be confused about, they explain it at the end, whatever. I'm hoping that this is just...
I think that's very hopeful.
It's very hopeful because after last night, after a few things, the whole backstage stuff, them sharing drinks, like it's...
Right, because there was a later, which we'll talk about the NXT announcement, but like he had an Instagram promo where he's, he gives Cody another hug and he says like, I come in peace and, whatever.
So I like to think that maybe he's just like... being a manipulative, like trying to be on his good side, and then like that quote unquote friendship, I wouldn't call it friendship, but we'll say that for now, builds, and when Cody has his guard down, that's when The Rock turns on him. That's what I'm hopeful happens, but it was just so confusing to see that happen when it's like
he could just not have done it. They could just leave out Cody, even leave out Roman Reigns if you're not gonna if they're like not really going into the Rock bloodline storyline.
Right. Promote
just
Netflix.
Don't even.
That's fine.
Just say, oh, Netflix is great and like whatever. It was strange.
Because it's like I'm ignoring the whole Bad Blood return. That to me that like never happened. But when we last saw him in April, he said, I'm coming back for you in that belt. And he came back.
Right.
And he shared a drink with him, not going after his belt. So
to me, it seems like again, the Golden Globes were in Los Angeles the night before. I mean, The Rock probably lives in Los Angeles, but like he was already in town. He was already probably down the street. They announced he was going to be on the show like the night or two before. Yeah. It seems like a real last minute thing. But with that said, I'm still in the camp of like they probably shouldn't have done Cody or Roman stuff.
Yeah.
The big question here to kind of counter your point with like, things are going to play out and whatever. It's also going to be probably the name of this episode or part of the name of this episode. Could this be the other side of the coin? Is the Rock storyline dropped? This was a very, some people are just calling this an out of character promo. Like you were saying before we went on, it wasn't a Rock promo, it was a Dwayne promo. It was not a final boss promo in the slightest. It was the
director of board of directors promo.
So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. It's January now. I think we'll really know post Rumble where we're at. But I wouldn't be surprised. And we've been talking about this for a couple episodes where they have so many directions. They have, Cody Rock, Cody Roman again, Roman Rock, Cody Randy, Cody KO,
Kevin, Cody Randy.
Roman with just like Solo
Cody
and Jacob.
Cena, if you want to do
Cody
that.
Cena, Roman Cena. Yeah. There's so much. There's so much stuff that is intertwined that maybe, and I'm just kind of I'm not saying this is what I'm knock on wood moments. I don't want this to happen, but for the sake of the conversation, maybe the Rock storyline is dropped.
It could be. That definitely could be the case. The way it seemed, the way it came across, makes you think that whatever story they had going, it's just discontinued. At the same time, it's like, I don't know. I like to think that when he came back last year, right, the whole Cody Roman Rock build up and everything, in my head I was like, this is a build up to like he's gonna do a few matches, right? Like they're setting up a story that's gonna go on for a little bit, and there's all these reports if he's not gonna be there. Then there are reports of they're writing him in, but they have backups in case he isn't there. When it comes to and really just anything bloodline related, I don't believe it until I see it. So like the story absolutely could have just been dropped, but at the same time, it's like we're saying this. And like, I think WWE maybe is like getting our expectations down. So when that moment does happen, it's bigger. Again, that's me being optimistic.
Yeah, I think your glass is really half full.
I have a big glass.
Because then what are they going to do? They're going to come out and then Rock's going to cut a promo and be like, I didn't mean to hug you, Cody. I wasn't your friend when I hugged you. You know what I mean?
Dude, honestly,
they got a lot of tiptoeing if they want to explain.
They do a lot of tiptoeing, but they did the same thing last year. It's like they were on a thin, they were walking on a thin rope last year, and they made it work. And I don't know. I think they can somehow make it work, but I am not as confident as I once was that Rock is wrestling at Mania.
Yeah, and believe me,
I don't think they need him. I don't think they need him, but it would be nice.
Yeah, at a company now that has like a Punk, Roman, Cena.
Yeah, they have a million different guys that could be in his spot or write a different story, whatever it is.
Yeah, I you know me, I love a swerve. I am always signed up to believe in one thing, and then all of a sudden, oh shit, this happened. Like absolutely. I am after last night, I'm kind of leaning that my expectation is we're probably not getting much more Rock.
Sure.
That's kind of that's what I was. And
maybe
told
just now. Maybe it's next year or something. Even
just like a month before Mania. Like all of a sudden we could start seeing him picking up or whatever.
Okay, sure.
Some people are like it could be. This seems like it's in the garbage, but they could pick it back up out of the garbage literally any time between now and April.
Right. Like last night, they could have went with the idea that Rock isn't at Mania, but in 2 weeks he goes, "Oh no, I can wrestle now." And they're like, "Okay, let's bring it back."
It could even kind of like to your point. It could even be a thing where they're not even teasing the Rock stuff because they want to play. Like if they start teasing the Rock stuff now, it might overshadow like Punk and Cena stuff or whatever. So maybe like. We still want him on the show because he's The Rock, but we're gonna get to their storyline in fucking February or March,
because like we know their story, we know their history, their background and stuff. So it's like you don't really need him to be there for a 4 or 5 month build up. You can kind of bring him in later on if that's the case. The Roman was asked about it too at the press after, and he was just like, the internet's gonna do their thing. Yeah. Like we'll see. So,
and that's we are part of that.
Yeah, we are
absolutely part of that. I don't know. I think overall, we'll move on. Well, we'll move on, but the next match is Roman Solo.
Yeah.
But I was pretty. I don't know if I want to use the word disappointed,
underwhelmed, maybe,
but. Even just like confused and just like kind of just like a little. I mean, disappointed is the right word, but I was just a little like, oh man, why is he hugging Cody? It just didn't. And like even him going like, I hated this part where he goes, "Tell Mama Rhodes I said hi." Yeah, and Cody started laughing.
I thought that was
like it was an old friend.
When he said that, I thought that was gonna be the part where The Rock starts to turn heel.
I thought that was like, okay, we're getting the little injection of the final boss stuff.
Yeah.
But then Cody didn't even sell it.
Yeah.
He sold it as if it was like a feud from 15 years ago, and he was like, you got me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
no, he made you bleed not even a year ago.
So I don't know. I mean, obviously, you know, as Cena said later in the show, never say never. And,
That's right.
and as Roman said, the internet will do its thing. We really don't know. But I'm left confused, a little disappointed, and wary of what The Rock's involvement is going forward. But I'm not expecting much at this point.
No, I think
which might be a good thing.
I think that might be the best way of going about it. I'm just going to sit back, let it play out, and whoever fights at Mania, fights at Mania.
Yeah.
Before we get into the next topic, we'd like to take a minute to hear from our sponsor, DraftKings. Let's take a quick look at the gridiron for a second. Have you played Pick 6 from DraftKings yet? What are you waiting for? You better get on it because the playoffs are here and time is running out. As the official daily fantasy sports partner of the NFL, DraftKings does fantasy sports like no one else. You can play for better payouts on Pick 6. It's really easy to get started. Select 2 or more players, choose if they'll have more or less of a stat, and you're done. Pick 6 is available in most states, including Missouri, California, Texas, Georgia, and more.
And DraftKings is making it even sweeter for first-timers. New Pick 6 customers play $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Win more cash on Pick 6. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app and use code STASH. That's code STASH for new customers to play $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Only on DraftKings Pick 6, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus award as non-withdrawal Pick 6 credits that expire in 30 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. Thank you, DraftKings, for sponsoring today's episode. Now back to the show. All right, we'll move on, but not really move on. We have Roman Reigns defeating Solo Sikoa in tribal combat for the Ula Fala. This was a banger. Of an opening match.
Shout out Solo, man. I want to give him his flowers, dude.
He was great.
He's gotten so much better over the last few months. We've praised him of like, you know, early on in the story when he got the tribal chief, like he became the tribal chief. It was like, I don't know if he's ready for it. He's not, you know, in that position. But over the last few months, his character work has gotten so much better. Mic work, in ring. So you could tell in this match. So shout out to both of them. It was a great fucking match.
He's got a great Uranagi, I'll tell you that.
He does.
And this is a story throughout the night, which I thought was funny. Tons of close calls. Every match had finisher kickouts. Every single match.
There was definitely a few instances.
It rocked. I don't know how you feel about that. It fucking rocked.
I wasn't expecting it. I mean, we'll get into the matches when it happened, but there are times when it was a close call, and I was like, oh, I actually thought the match was going to end there.
I don't think it's going to be. I think it was really just like a Raw Netflix thing. Another thing I noticed was I think it goes with like the finisher kickouts and make it like the most hype you can. But and they I've seen discussion about this online. I've even like WWE was even basically saying this without saying it. Because it's on Netflix, it was on the front page of Netflix. This potentially, maybe not even potentially, might be in it. Seeing wrestling in the mainstream again, right? And it's been in there, like it's been the hottest 5 years, but with this new move, I mean, we saw like they brought out. We're not going to list the celebrities, but like, you know, 40 fucking celebrities.
Yeah, I mean,
they were,
Macaulay
you know what I mean?
Culkin was there.
Vanessa
Hudgens.
Pop of the night for Macaulay Culkin.
He did that, lifted it up. Love him.
Vanessa Hudgens, my goat.
She's awesome.
Hot girls like pro wrestling on her shirt. Go.
Fluffy, Gabriel and Glee. They had everyone. They had fucking everyone.
His shirt
there.
was disgusting.
The Netflix WWE.
I wonder how much he got paid for that.
Yeah,
or nothing. I'll bet you nothing.
Probably nothing.
Bet you nothing. My point being was I noticed commentary. It was mainly when like Jimmy and Sammy came out. Michael Cole was like, he was like, and there comes Jimmy, the cousin of Roman Reigns, and he's hitting his brother, Solo Sikoa. Like they were kind of over explaining it, which I'm not saying was a bad thing. I think it was like they knew that they were getting such like either a new or returning audience that didn't know the stories.
Exactly.
So it was a good move for commentary needed to catch people up
for sure
while the action was happening. So I thought that was interesting.
Do you quick question, do you pay what's your Netflix plan? Do you pay for ads?
I have like the standard, like not like the cheapest one where it's like the ads. I got commercials. If that's what you're asking.
Commercials.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're
the $15 one, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. So I have the $15 one too, and I didn't get any commercials. This is what I was confused about because people were saying
VPN.
No. During when a commercial would come up, it's like it fades. It would come back on, and the match was still going.
Oh.
And also, there were points where it was like before that match. The commercial for me was they showed a video package explaining the story behind.
Oh, you got the international stream.
I have no idea why. I genuinely have
strange.
no clue. But what I was saying was, I think it's sick. Going off your point of like kind of for the newer audience and stuff, is they showed that video package of explaining everything. So it's like if you have whatever I do, or I don't know what the fuck, you're able to see like, oh, that's the story behind this match before it starts. So I thought that was cool, but I guess not everyone got that.
Taylor have a secret VPN you don't know about?
I guess so.
Wow.
It's her account, so I don't know what the fuck. Well, our account, but she's the one that had the access to it. But yeah, I don't know.
Weird. Yeah, everyone. It should be like. I mean, obviously, lucky you. But yeah, US. It was limited commercials, so it wasn't like they weren't intrusive. Yeah, it was maybe like it was just like regular commercials like you'd see on TV.
Sure.
But they weren't like that. They didn't take away that much. But yeah, then like I saw that people. I mean, obviously, me and you streamed last night, so there were people like in the chat. I'm sure you got the same thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about it. Yeah. They're like, "What are you talking about?" Like now that's what's on my screen.
So I had the opposite. Obviously, people in the chat were like, "Oh, I'm an international," or "I'm a VPN," or whatever, and they were. Yes, I don't know, but hey, lucky you.
Hey, lucky me, I guess. All right. Anyways,
so yeah, we got a couple things here. Roman powerbomb solo through a table from the turnbuckle. That was nuts.
Right on the Fortnite logo.
Right on the Fortnite logo. You did mention earlier there was like a moment where he's going to concerto him. Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu came out, attacked Roman. Sammy and Jimmy came out to make the save. No Jay. Jay's got a match later. Jay. Kevin Owens came out.
Shocked me.
Hit Roman with a stunner.
Shocked me.
What?
I couldn't believe it. I was like, where the fuck? Why is he getting thrown in the mix? I know him and Roman like bloodline feud. I get that, but not actively. So
throughout the night, I mean, obviously we got like they were rivaling. I would even say maybe beat the WrestleMania 40 cameos. Because in this match, you had Sammy, Kevin, Cody. Sammy, Jimmy, Kevin, Cody, Tama Tonga, Jacob. You have the Undertaker later in the show. Yeah. John Cena was on the card. Hogan was there, which wasn't a highlight, but you know what I mean? He was there.
He was there.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
They pulled out all the stops for this one, that's for sure. I mean, when you hype it up as much as they did, you got to deliver.
Anyway, stunner. Roman kicked out after the stunner. Kevin Owens is beating down Roman. Cody comes out. Fucking beats.
Might as well mix them all in.
Beats down, runs off Kevin. Roman wins with a couple of spears. And then, we'll talk about The Rock. Well, yeah, whatever. The Rock comes out, and Paul Heyman, Paul Heyman's like on his knee about to give him the shit.
Yeah.
Rock comes out. No music, just walks out.
Yeah, that because the camera shot was amazing. Like the camera shot was so good. So good. I also, all right, one thing really quick too. I was so like, it was funny to me because Cody was in the audience, right? And then his music plays. I'm like, wait, is he coming from the audience? Comes from back. The Rock went like before the commercial, walked over behind the announce table to his mom. And then he comes out the back when it's his time after the match. I was like, are they just like all moving around? Like, what's happening?
I'll be right back.
What's going on?
Because they also, like, there was like a ton of other, like, they showed like Damage Control at ringside. Ray and LA Knight were there. And Ray's sick, born and raised Eddie shirt.
Yeah, that was fire.
It was like 1:30 in the morning, and I'm like, online looking for it. I don't think it's released.
You'll find it one day. It'll pop up
if they release it. I gotta get it. But anyway, so yeah, The Rock comes out, asks for the Ula Fala from Paul. Paul is very skeptical. Paul's at least still playing into this story.
Yep. Committed to the bit always.
A fucking stare down, and like just like a. They kept on doing close-ups of Roman's face, and it wasn't like a angry stare down. It was just like,
it was like a family, like respect thing, kind of.
Yeah, it was just kind of an acknowledgement, I guess, for lack of a better term. Rock dons him with the Ula Fala. They do their handshake.
There were times when Rock like stood in the corner watching, and then even like when he had the Ula Fala, the Rock, you had Paul in the background, and this whole time I'm thinking, is something gonna happen? Is Paul gonna do something? Is the Rock gonna do something? Whatever.
I would have bet the house that the Rock was gonna put it on himself. I swear that's what was gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then once like the segment just faded to black, or for you stayed, I was like, oh, that was like the icing on the cake of like, the storyline is really dropped. Like the Rock's involvement is really kaput. You know?
Yeah.
Regardless, though, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say another reason why I thought something was gonna happen with Paul, and like again, like we could just be dropping our guard and something could still happen, but I don't want to jump to SmackDown, but just Paul did when he did a promo, he did the hand gesture of. Same thing that Rock did at Bad Blood. Like same mannerism, same like timing and everything. So people, obviously the internet does their thing, is connecting the dots, whatever. So knowing that, I was like, maybe something will happen now, but clearly it didn't.
Overall though, again, like my takeaways from like everything between the Rock's promo and the end of this is like all the new viewers must have been like, because they don't know the fucking story. They must have, this is great. I even liked it. It's like, I don't love like the Rock storyline basically being dropped. It's weird, but like overall, looking past that though, very sports entertained.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, the Rock is still the Rock. Cut a fun promo. He still did his fucking goosebumps thing. And Roman and Solo put on a banger.
Great match,
We got a great result of Roman winning, kick off Netflix. He's the tribal chief again. So at least we have like Rock involvement or not. Now we have tribal chief with the Ulafala Roman. Yeah. And we can kind of see where we're going with that.
We can move forward.
We can see what the new bloodline develops into now that Solo's been dethroned. So a lot of good stuff coming out of it that like the Rock stuff might have like overshadowed it.
I was going to say overshadowed it, yeah.
But a lot of good stuff. And again, great match. These two looked great. I'm curious where they go from here. Does Roman and his OG bloodline maybe take a break from new bloodline?
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, Royal Rumble being a month away, I would imagine backstage Roman was there and they're like, Paul was like, when can we need to have a celebration or something? When can we do that? And as we're waiting for Roman, I was like, oh, next week. He goes, January 27th.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess, to answer your question, I'd say he's going to take
3 Mondays.
He's going to take 3 weeks off. It probably say he's entering the Royal Rumble, and there we go.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, and then he walked into
WWE
2K25 door, or like
fantastic,
where they make the game. I guess.
Yeah, he was doing his render in there. They were doing his scan or whatever. So now I think that's a giveaway of.
He's probably on the cover.
Yeah,
he's probably on the cover. Or it's gonna be Solo.
Or it could be Solo. Who knows?
All right, we'll move on. John Cena makes his return in the all blue for Raw.
Dude, you see at every wherever they go, they're gonna have like special shirts and like hats and stuff. So like Boston will be, I'm assuming, because that was like Dodgers colors for LA.
Oh, so that's why it was.
So
that's
cool.
If
they're in Boston, maybe green for the Celtics. I don't know, something
that's
like
fun.
That. But yeah, it's like different shit every time. So when they come to Boston,
cool.
Whether we go with clutch points or ourselves, I'm gonna go because I need to get a limited shirt.
Yeah, like Raw came to Boston a few weeks ago, and me and you, obviously we didn't go.
Yeah.
And I was like, if it was a PLE, like I'm going 1,000%. But like we've been to a few Raws and SmackDowns, thankfully, like very, very cool,
100%.
whether it's on our dime or not. But like I was kind of just not really I don't want to speak for you, but I wasn't kind of feeling like we've talked about like the live show, the live TV taping. Now though, for this 2025, especially seeing what Raw and Netflix did, I'm like, oh, Raw, SmackDown, like I'm going.
Yeah, it's like for us too, it was end of December. There was also a double show because they taped it and stuff. And it's like,
it was like a week or two before Christmas.
It's like a Monday night too. If it's like a big, like there's like, you know, a lot going on, whatever, different. Like again, John Cena's advertised, I'd be there. But it was a standard Raw. I don't really want to be so tired the next day from having to go from all that. So
all right, so Cena comes out, cuts a pretty like standard Cena promo.
Yeah.
But and then he gets into the nitty gritty. You know, he's doing the Netflix and you know whatever. He goes and elephant in the room basically. You know, everyone wants me to get that 17th world title. And I believed him. He flat out goes, it's not happening.
Yep.
And I was like, it seemed so genuine,
so real. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I thought the camera wasn't recording. I almost freaked out. Almost lost my mind.
That would have
been
fucking tough.
Sorry.
All right. Yeah, he was
17 times
so good at selling the emotions, but making you believe
so
it.
Genuine. And to me, it almost seemed like an out of character thing where he's like putting expectations.
It's like Triple H was like, go out there and say what you want, like set up the tour how you want.
Yeah.
And just like he's like, okay, I'm not winning the 17th title. And backstage, like Triple H is like,
no,
we need to put it on you.
But like I believed it because one. Cena. We know Cena. He's even said it in interviews where he's like, "Oh, I don't care about accolades,
I don't want to break
whatever."
the record, yeah.
And then he starts getting into why. He starts, which I thought it was a perfect bait and switch with the perfect amount of Cena like corniness sprinkled in. He says, "Yeah, it's not likely because like guys, let's be honest,
because of the streak."
He says because of the streak.
He goes, not Roman's streak, not the Undertaker streak. You know the streak.
I haven't won a match in over 2,000 days. Woo. He's like the young guys like got it now. Like I can't keep up with those young guys. Once he started saying this, I was like, oh baby, baby.
Here we go.
Never say never. Just super baby face like Cena promo whatever, and then he goes, I would need to win like Money in the Bank
or
Elimination Chamber or the Royal Rumble.
Everyone starts going crazy.
It's like, wait a minute.
I have an idea.
I have an idea.
And he goes, never say never, but it would be a miracle if I won.
And he's like, and you know me, I'm all about miracle or whatever. He ends it with saying not only is he going to be in the Royal Rumble, he says he's going to win the Royal Rumble.
Fired up. He also was like, because of ULA, I'm going to win this. Like, you gave me the confidence. I was like, John,
it's the perfect amount of like corny, like, you know, like super baby face, but it was nostalgic.
Yeah.
It was a really fun bait and switch.
It's the perfect Cena promo. He made you feel every emotion in the book. And he's so good at getting that out of you. He's so good at dragging you on, reeling you in, like, oh, he's not going to go after the title or whatever, and then obviously gets into the Money in the Bank elimination. So good, so great.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see. I'm excited to see how he looks in his first match.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was gonna like set up a match that night. Like
I thought we were getting like some sort of maybe like someone interrupts him.
I thought Logan Paul honestly was gonna be a good like comes out, interrupts him, maybe sets it up for next week or whatever.
He even mentioned some names like he said Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul, Cody Rhodes.
He said Logan Paul. He was like, Gunther. Yeah, he listed out a few names, but. Great start to the tour.
Really fun.
Really good start, setting the tone.
Yeah.
Getting everyone amped up for the Royal Rumble. And I don't know if he's advertised for next week. I'm kind of in the assumption that he's going to be there every week.
This whole thing has been touted as full time. Right. But like, I'm curious to see what that really means.
It's like one of those things that they don't have to advertise, but at the same time, I feel like they should.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I mean, that kind of, a point too is like, obviously this was the premiere and this was like, they pulled out all the stops,
right?
All the returns, whatever. I don't like next week. There's going to be a lot of like returning viewers who watch this episode and they're like, honey, maybe we're going to tune in next week. You know what I mean? And my not worry, but like point was like they have to. There can't be a drop off because obviously after like a month or two, or not a month or two, maybe a month, we're gonna get back to pretty just like standard Raws where like everything isn't like the most exciting thing in the world and like stuff is pretty standard. But I mean, next week, not to jump ahead, but we already got like Penta basically confirmed.
Yep,
we're getting Dakota and Lara Valkyria.
Sheamus Ludwig got announced.
Oh, yep, Sheamus Ludwig.
Damian Finn in the street fight got announced.
But to your point, like if we get like another John Cena or another whatever, so it's like they're doing a good job. And I thought we were getting Penta last night.
Yeah, me too.
But after seeing like everything else that happened, it's like, okay, don't overshadow. Even like
100%.
I thought, which again, I'm skipping ahead, but like I thought we were getting like a Becky or a Charlotte too. Right. It was a good move of like
holding out, maybe.
You don't need to put everything on this show. Save Penta and the IC final for next week, so you have stuff and
because I was disappointed when they announced a few days ago. It was confirmed that they moved the IC title match to next week, which I was disappointed about. But after watching the show last night, and same thing with Penta, I'm like, it is a good thing that they didn't get put on here because it's the first show. You're going to have all these celebrities, all these, like Undertaker is going to be there next week. Hogan shouldn't be back forever.
Another promo.
Rock isn't coming back. So it's like you can fill in those gaps next week. Because I think a big complaint I saw online was there wasn't a lot of matches. It was a lot of like backstage stuff, but I thought it flowed well. The matches were good.
Match, I mean, there's also four pretty long matches.
Yes.
Like, I think everything delivered.
Seth and Punk was like 30 minutes at the very minimum at the end, and I think Roman solo
after entrance is probably 20, but like still, I mean, they went over a little bit. They went over time.
Even like with, I mean, it's your first episode. You have to do all those extra things, the backstage stuff, the appearances. You have to, but it's not going to be like that every week. So people that were complaining about it not being a lot of wrestling, it's like I wouldn't expect that moving forward.
Yeah. Well, kind of on the points we were making, we got another Penta tease that showed his name.
It just straight up said Penta.
So he's which is, I was curious if he was going to be, because obviously, in AEW, who's Penta El Zero Miedo. He's gone by Pentagon Jr., but this seems, I mean, maybe still Pentagon Jr., who knows, but Penta. Later on in the night, Chad Gable's chatting, and I want to prove to people that I can face luchadors. And Adam Pearce is like, well, I got someone. They are not even like hiding, because they're basically just they're winking at the camera as much as you possibly can.
He was talking to was it Bailey or something like that? He was talking to someone, and he like looked at it and goes, yeah, I know someone. We can put you against.
Penta versus Chad Gable.
That match is gonna be fucking sick.
I'm so amped.
That match is gonna be fucking sick.
And it seems like, as much as Roman, and I'm not giving the internet this much credit, but you know what I mean. Roman said the internet's gonna do its thing. It seems like they pivoted away from the New Day and Ray story. We got like a little bit of New Day backstage stuff, like a tiny bit.
Yeah, they were just straight up like, because this was something that also was being played during commercials. So you know how they were doing, it was like not backstage, but they had like it was up towards like the stage or whatever, and they were interviewing people. Like they interviewed Rhea after she won. New Day came out, and they basically were like, LA doesn't deserve to see us fight tonight. And then they were like, over the last year, you've been hyping up that trash ass rapper Kendrick Lamar and stuff like that. And they're like, crazy. They're booing and goes, yeah, boo Kendrick, we hate him too. So I guess that explained why they weren't fighting. I guess, we don't like LA, but
I don't even need an explanation. If they just pivot it, they just forgot about it.
Thank God they're getting him away from all that. This is a much better debut match for Penta. 100%.
Agreed. And then also in the same breath, we also had a Logan Paul video package announcing that he is 100% a WWE superstar. He's all in. Didn't say full time, but he did say he's 100% a WWE superstar. Yeah. How much of that? He's not going to be on TV every week. I don't know how much. I don't know what. I think it was just to get his face on TV. I don't know how much this really meant.
Was he in the crowd yesterday?
Yes, he was.
Okay, I thought I remember seeing him.
After his little video package, they showed him in the crowd, and put his sunglasses down. And he was like, whatever.
100% a superstar. We'll see him in the Royal Rumble.
That's the thing. I don't know. I believe him when he's like. He's 100% committed in the sense of like, I'm gonna show up more than just like 4 or 3 PLEs a year, and that he wants to like be like for as much of a full time as like he would really do. I believe he's committed, but I don't think he's gonna be working as much as like fucking Cody. 100%.
You know what I mean? It's like a shame because he is. uber talented in the ring and stuff. And if he was full time, like I really do believe he could like, you know, be a big star in the company, bigger than, you know, his name is now. But we'll see. We'll see how many appearances he makes.
Another great match. We had Rhea Ripley defeating Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship. This was awesome.
It was a good match.
I think it was their best match. These two have phenomenal chemistry. Obviously, Rhea gets all the credit and deserves all the credit in the world. She's phenomenal. She's probably like she's the women's division. She is at the top of the women's division.
Absolutely.
Liv Morgan though deserves way more credit than she gets. She doesn't get the credit she deserves for how good she is in the ring.
Yeah,
she can
agree.
sell her ass off. Her offense is really good. She's unreal.
People really are very critical of Liv Morgan.
I don't know
in-ring.
why.
I don't know why.
She's one of the most talented on the roster.
Is she the best technical wrestler in the world? No, but the thing is, she's great in the ring, but she's a good storyteller. It's like in the match and stuff, like she's able to tell her story through her work, and it's like her character's so good too that it all blends so well. And that's what, I think she's awesome.
I even think technical wise, she's in the better half.
She's gotten say she's gotten a lot better as time has gone on.
There was a move she hit, I think it was on Rhea. I think it was during their match at, where was that? Bad Blood with the shark cage? What was that? She hit this fucking like I think it was like she was going for the riptide. It was like this like standing like fucking front flip thing.
I know what you mean.
I don't know what the fuck it was, but it was crazy.
I don't even know what I'd look up to find it. But I know exactly what you're talking about.
All right, some notes I have here. Again, I want to be clear that I love this Riptide and Oblivion kickouts.
Yeah, and on the chair too. She hit the Oblivion on the chair.
Both were selling their asses off. I think the last Oblivion Liv gave Rhea, she sold that like fucking death. It took 2 Riptides to finally put Liv away, which is a really, really nice touch to like emphasize like, oh, Liv is like is hard to beat,
and Rhea's like, I'm not confident one is gonna finish her. I have to do it a second time to make sure.
They gave Liv 2. After the match, Dom wanted a hug from Rhea. Rhea kicks him in the balls and hits him with a Riptide.
That looked like a crazy low blow too. Oh my god.
We've also been waiting for this Riptide for fucking ever. Cole and Pat McAfee, which we haven't really talked about them that much, were having a field day with Dom getting kicked.
They were having a blast last night.
It's one of my favorite things about how Pat McAfee can just like tickle Michael Cole. Like he's his kryptonite.
Michael Cole would be like, he's a piece of shit. Like literally will like call him out and say all these things. It's awesome.
One thing, I guess I want to talk about Pat McAfee and Cole a little bit. And another thing we didn't mention, like we started seeing some benefits of Netflix during the show. The Rock's promo within the first 10 minutes of the show, he says bullshit, no bleep. The crowd started chanting "fuck you, Solo." I think
Solo
no bleep.
Love it.
People just felt like, even like commentary felt like more free flowing, more natural. They were able to kind of say like, I think they were laughing about like, oh, I don't think he's gonna be able. Him and Liv are gonna have a good night tonight. Get kicked in the balls.
Like Pat
whatever.
was saying, he said like bitch a few times.
Yeah.
It's like that's
good stuff.
It's good stuff. I mean, again, it's natural. It's like it's 2025. People swear. People say things. It comes out. It's a part of the conversation. What's happening? It's good. It's good stuff.
All right, before we get to what happens after the match, I kind of want to stay on this match for a little bit and talk about it. But yeah, this was great. I could have gone with either result. I expected Rhea to win.
I thought Liv was going to win personally.
Oh, yeah?
Just because I felt like she needed the win more than Rhea. We've talked about it before. I'm not going to like explain it again, but like Rhea, kind of the way they booked her, it's like they booked her in her corner like she's so dominant. It's like she needs the title. But I just felt Liv, it would have been nice to see her get a nice clean win over Rhea. At the same time, I'm fine with Rhea winning because I know we're going to set up a great match at Mania against whether it's Io, Charlotte, but it's going to be someone. It's going to be a big marquee match. But yeah, I was fine with the result at the end of it.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of 50-50. So like if Liv wins, like I said, I was singing Liv's praises. It's a huge win for Liv. I think she's been a great champion. We can go. I would love to see her feud with someone else.
I mean, she had the belt since end of May, so she had the belt for like 7-8 months. So that's a really good reign.
I expected the Rhea win because I think one, it was a world title match on the Raw on Netflix.
On the debut, yeah.
I think a world title change, like you're not gonna flip a Cody belt, you're not gonna flip a Gunther belt, which also Gunther being the world champion,
not being on the show.
Just a vignette,
crazy.
Yeah, that was pretty
That's not
wild.
Something I realized.
I didn't realize that until his vignette came up, I was like, oh, the world champion isn't on the show.
Well, I saw that and I'm thinking to myself like, oh, okay, something else will happen with him, and then the show ended, and I'm like thinking about the show and everything. I'm like, oh, he never showed up again. Like they didn't do anything else with him.
Yeah, I get you stacked I bit my tongue. Get you stacked the show.
Awful.
But like he is your world champion. Like Cody, because obviously Cody's SmackDown.
Yes.
Cody felt like the world champion of the night. Gunther was, I wouldn't even say a second thought. He was like a fifth afterthought.
The only justifiable way to explain it is, and it doesn't really make sense because they haven't made anything official. It's like maybe Gunther's on SmackDown and that's why he's not on Raw. But you didn't make that announcement. Cody's still on SmackDown, but he's on Raw. Same with Kevin. You had those, mix-ups already. That's the only thing I can think of, but that still doesn't make sense. And it is inexcusable. Even like having him in the crowd. Anything.
Yeah, they didn't. Have him in the crowd with the title at bare minimum. Be like, this is your world champion on Raw on Netflix.
They should have had him come out and chop Hulk Hogan and get him off the stage.
That would have been crazy.
I don't know. They could have just done a backstage thing. Anything.
Even give me like a Cena stare down.
Sure.
Like come out at the very end of the Cena promo. You can do something there.
It could have been like Cena's doubting himself and Gunther comes out and is like, yeah, you're right, John. You can't win anything. And that's when Cena gets the motivation. It's like, no, I'm going to win the Rumble. I'm coming for you.
Especially because they were teasing the 17 time. Just have Gunther maybe come out there and, shrug the title.
As soon as he mentions the 17 title, Gunther comes out and it's like, oh, this title? This is what you want? Yeah, they could have done.
It was weird.
It kind of is inexcusable to not have your world champion of that show. Yeah.
But yeah, wrapping up Rhea and Liv. Hyped that Rhea won. It makes sense. Mm-hmm. I would have liked to see either woman won.
Right.
So I'm cool with either.
It was one of those things where it's like either way, it was going to go down a direction that I would have been cool with. So yeah, all good.
And then so Rhea's walking up the ramp. She's celebrating, going crazy, whatever, and that fucking gong hit,
dude. It's like PTSD for us.
It's like genuinely PTSD. I got teleported back to those cold seats in Philadelphia.
I thought my lights were gonna go out.
I freaked. Obviously, I didn't freak out as much in being in Philly, but that gong hit, and I was like, wait, I fucking lost my mind. But it
was like, I heard it, I was like, wait a minute, did I just hear something? Then the lights went out. I'm like, oh my God, it was the gong. And then American Badass.
Lights come up. Rhea's like, I gotta polish this title up, and I didn't expect this. American Badass. He comes out on the fucking bike. He's wearing the BSK shirt.
I want that shirt so bad.
Does a lap around the ring. Comes back. And it looked like to me, he was talking a lot to Rhea. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised if it was, I wouldn't be surprised if it was two things. One, I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out that it was like ultimately a surprise. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Rhea didn't know.
Sure.
You know? Mm-hmm. Because there was a lot of like Undertaker maybe kind of going like, we're going to raise our arms. That's what it seemed to me.
Yeah, kind of like talking to her. Yeah.
And then I always thought she was going to hop on the bike. I thought that's how it was going to end. Yeah. Mm-hmm. A perfect and ultimate cosign. Undertaker to Rhea Ripley. I never thought about it, but it's fucking awesome.
It's like he did it with Bray Wyatt years ago on the Raw 25 episode, I think. And then doing the cosign here. Yeah, it's not something I'd ever think of, but obviously it makes sense, right?
They did
the closing shot.
Ooh. They did the arm raise. Rhea has the belt slung on her back. It was perfect.
Great moment. Cool shot. Very unexpected.
And they do the shot kind of behind.
They look back.
They're looking back, and Undertaker's revving the bike. It was.
I love it.
It was one of the coolest. I don't know. It was one of the coolest things. I really, really loved this.
I think that entire Rhea winning, hitting the rip pad on Dom, and then Undertaker coming out, just it
was great.
All of that was just a great 30 minutes. They nailed that.
And I did expect this is where I expected like a Becky to come out.
I was expecting
it was
Charlotte.
Gonna be Becky or Charlotte.
I was thinking Charlotte may have come out or something, but hey, Undertaker. It was. Oh my God, he's going after Rhea's title. Yeah. He's going after the woman. No. He's going after the belt he's never won.
The new number one contender. Oh no.
Oh, so good. Yeah, great surprise. Great surprise.
I'll move on to Jey Uso defeating Drew McIntyre. This match starts out with Fiend playing, and they go to Travis. I thought we were getting like a Travis Scott concert.
I thought we were getting a concert.
Travis Scott's just like in the audience, not doing anything, also smoking a joint or a blunt.
See the fucking smoke coming out. He's smoking it out. Has the hardcore WWE belt.
Funny.
I
couldn't believe it was smoking.
I was
actually
crazy. Cracking up so much. Like when I got back after Raw and I was talking to Taylor, I was like, Travis Scott came out with smoking. She goes, I know, I heard you in the other room freaking out. That was like. To me, that was the thing where I was like, "Oh wow, we're like not on TV anymore."
We are in a different
the swearing,
era.
Forget what the commentators are swearing. It's the fact that Travis Scott is smoking pot on live TV and Jey Uso coming out. Oh, it was awesome.
He walks Jey to the ring. Jey comes out. They're doing the fucking yeet shit.
Them and Pat McAfee was dancing.
Michael Cole got on the table with Pat McAfee. He's out of breath. Oh my God.
And going to your point earlier of what you said, a few instances of like Cody, we'll use him as an example. Like they see him and like new viewers like, oh, that's the champ, whatever.
Oh, yeah,
they see Jey Uso here and they're like, oh, that's the biggest guy in the company. Like that's he's coming out with arguably one of the biggest artists in the world, making this big presentation. Like the entrance was the best entrance of the night.
It was crazy.
The camera angles were sick. If I was a new fan, don't know anything about wrestling, and I tuned in, I would have legitimately
this is the coolest guy in the world.
This is the dopest guy ever.
He'd be my favorite wrestler, 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this was in terms of Travis Scott got on the top the turnbuckle. He's doing the fucking
dude.
thing.
I thought he was.
Awesome.
He sat at commentary. I was like, is he going to be a special guest commentator?
So funny. His commentary's in auto-tune.
Straight up.
So a fun match.
Yeah, it was
probably the weakest match on the card, but like
compared to everything else. I mean,
the crowd was pretty sleepy for this, which we just got a Undertaker surprise. The Rhea and Liv match tore the house down. Roman and Solo and The Rock, like a little sleepy. Again, more finisher kickouts. Jey kicked out of a Claymore, which even it was a super Claymore. It was like bouncing off the rope.
That was one of the finishers that was hit on the night. That was like, oh yeah, I thought that was the match.
Drew kicked out of a spear, which was a little less crazy. And ultimately Jey got the dub, which I really do think I get it. You did just have this Jey Uso guy, and it goes to your point of like a new crowd being like, oh, this is like the guy. He did come out with Travis Scott. A Jey Uso win on paper or even off paper makes sense.
It's not a bad thing.
But to a core storyline, thinking like on just like the core audience, and I think I saw some stuff from you. I think we're on the same page here. I really think it should have been a Drew W. Yeah, I think Drew should have got the win here.
You
and don't you glass half full me on this one.
No, I was gonna say like I'm with you. Like I agree. It's like on Netflix. Like you're presenting this guy. Like you haven't come out with Travis Scott.
I get it.
You gotta have him win.
I understand.
Sure. But from a storyline standpoint, the whole thing is serious. He's the bloodline hunter. It's like that's what we're calling him. And it's like the way, especially how Drew's 2024 went, losing the big feud to Punk, and we have huge expectations for Drew this year, beating Sammy at Saturday Night Main Event, going after the Bloodline, and first match in the new year he loses. So it's like, just like from an outside point of view looking in, it's like I really think Drew should have won that. Jey winning is it's cool, it's fine, everyone loves Jey. Like, Drew's character has been built around, like last year was like him kind of being outsmarted, or if he loses, it pisses him off more. So I'm just going to assume
it was a clean win.
It was a clean win. So I'm going to assume Drew McIntyre is going to murder Jey Uso the next time they see each other, because you can tell like after the match, like Drew was like seething, like he was pissed. So I'm going to assume that result means that Drew's going to get angrier and be this more vicious character, but that's the only result of the night that I wish went a different way.
I agree.
But again, like
I agree.
I get it. I get it. But
I was rooting for someone else in the main event, but like the result of the main event wasn't nearly as like.
Same thing with like Liv and Rhea, where it's like I thought one person was gonna win, but I'm okay with either one winning because I know something's gonna come out of it.
Yeah, I would have loved Drew McIntyre to kick off 2025 with a W. I think that would have been the right call.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna go over. I'm in the same camp as you, so I'm not gonna repeat everything.
For sure.
Yeah, I didn't love this result, and the match was fine too.
Yeah. Definitely the weakest match of the night and stuff, but compared to everything else, I mean, of course.
All right, we'll move on to what you told me off pod was your favorite segment of the night.
Yeah, because of how I got booed out of the fucking building.
Hulk Hogan comes out, instantly booed.
Dude,
he's doing his welcome to Netflix,
brother.
The fucking he was like,
with tag team partners and shit like that.
You guys have always stuck with me. Boo.
You guys have been my greatest tag team partners.
And I've had some good ones. I've had Macho Man. I had a really tall one, Andrade. And then he's like, and WWE now has the greatest partner of all, Netflix. And he rips off his shirt. And it was Netflix has gone raw or some shit. Whatever it said.
Netflix-a-mania. Who knows?
He's kind of promoting his beer. And I tweeted this, and it's like it was like fucking like SNL wrote this, where he's getting booed out of the fucking building, and as he's walking out, you guys are awesome, man. It's like a genuine. It's like he didn't have his hearing aids.
He didn't hear any of the boos, dude. He literally,
oh man, you guys rock.
He had a script. He stuck to it. He's like, no matter what goes on out there, I'm going word for word, line for line. I'm not letting them deter me. It was so. What I'm like, first of all, well, like being booed, like so deserving. Like he deserves to get booed out of the building.
100%.
But like, it's never been like that before. Like over the years when he's appeared, like there have been boos, people have booed, but like. It's really been like majority, like it's still Hulk Hogan, like you just focus on the wrestler or whatever. But now it's like we're in a time of age where it's like people know the type of person he is outside of wrestling and stuff. And
I think it was also where we were. Like we were in LA.
Yes.
Yeah. Not to get political about it, but
Yeah.
So
that's real life stuff for sure.
I do think if he was in maybe like I don't know,
like Texas,
somewhere in Texas or Louisiana or something, I think he'd still get boos, but I don't think it'd be the overwhelming majority.
The best part, well, besides what you said of like him saying you guys are amazing, that besides
you guys are awesome,
that was the best part. But
how come Jimmy Hart's always with him?
He's always with them.
He's always with them.
They're just it's a duo. You get one, you get the other two.
He's like Pikachu to Ash Ketchum.
Was he waving the flag, the American flag when he came out? I had subtitles, closed captioning on.
Oh, yes.
And so I'm watching it and I'm like, wait, are they booing? Are they booing? And all of a sudden I see crowd booing. And I'm like, yeah.
Someone tweeted that to me with like the picture Hogan's of out there and it said crowd booing.
Awesome. So funny.
This was crazy.
And I said earlier, when John Cena was out, I'm like, this is the perfect guy to promote Netflix. Like The Rock, Cena, like those guys like can just like snap a finger, like you need to promote something, I got you. Hulk Hogan can also be that guy. It's just a shame everyone hates him. He can promote the shit out of Netflix, but no one cares what he says.
I don't know what they were thinking having him on the show. I have no idea.
I saw a tweet that it was like 23 years later, like it was 2002, Hulk Hogan, Triple H had a match, or Hogan won, and it's like Triple H knew he was going to get booed out of the building, so this is his revenge. He set him up.
He might have known 1,000% what was going to happen.
But at
That's
the same
a good
time,
point.
they gave him a multi-year deal with his beer, so I don't.
Also a good point.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to the main event here.
Right.
CM Punk defeats Seth Rollins in what was also a very fun match. I don't think match of the night IMO. I think Roman and Solo or Rhea Liv, I think, have that. But great match to end the show. Great match to send the crowd happy and like, wow, that we saw something cool. I'm glad they got the main event spot with all that said.
1,000%.
I think
opened the show, it would have been...
Yeah.
Would have been shitty.
Which honestly, and we were talking like for the past couple weeks, we're like, if The Rock is on this show, Roman and Solo. Like they could have absolutely closed the show with Roman and Solo ending, Rock coming back out, him putting the Ula Fala on Roman. That's
true.
The end.
When they announced The Rock, that's when I was like, okay. So Roman Solo isn't going to main event. If it was a surprise, like let's say no Rock announcement.
Sure, that's fair.
Roman Solo at the end. I'm like, okay, we're getting a Rock appearance. But since they announced him, I was kind of like iffy about it. But yeah, they could have. They absolutely could have done it if there was going to be a progression in the story, whatever the fuck.
Seth used multiple GTSs.
I was at one point I was like, are you going to use your own move? I was like, you just keep using CM Punk's.
Punk goes to the stomp. Both finishers kicked out of. I'll be honest, and I know it's tough to in on the internet. It's tough to give Punk any critiques. One, I'll preface this: he looked great. I think like physically, he looked in really good shape.
For 46,
yeah. That's the thing. It is also everything is 446.
Yes.
I do think it's nitpicking, but we can't just not talk about it. There were some moments where, understandably, Punk looked a little winded.
Sure.
I'm not going to say Seth carried him, but Seth being obviously the younger guy with probably more energy, Punk. This would have been a very different match if you weren't with Seth Rollins, who is one of the greatest performers on the planet.
I think
Seth picked up in moments where Seth maybe got winded or like dipped. Seth did a really great job at picking him up.
I was gonna say, I think Seth is a good like keep the pace going and stuff. Punk is more of a nowadays is more of like, slow kind of like, you're telling a story in the match. He's doing his moves, but they mean more. He's not like a high flyer doing these crazy spots where Seth is the one doing those things. He's doing the superplex. He's diving out into the outside and all that. But I'll tell you what, they had great chemistry together.
That's the thing.
They made it work.
They had really good chemistry. And I'm not saying
different styles, but they made it work.
And I'm not saying Punk was down here the whole time. No. I think it was like Punk and Seth were both up here. Sometimes Punk would dip down here energy-wise, but Seth is Seth and would kind of carry him back up, and then they'd beat, you know what I mean?
Listen, CM Punk calls himself the best in the world, but if I had to pick which one of the two is a better wrestler, I'm picking Seth Rollins.
Exactly. My point of saying that is less to discredit a 46-year-old Punk, because he was awesome in this match.
Yeah, 100%.
My point of bringing that up is to give more credit to Seth Rollins for Seth is the fucking one of the best wrestlers on the planet and we always talk about, not that CM Punk is far from a mop, but Seth is always in the conversation like an AJ Styles of like, he can have a 5-star match with a mop. So yeah, it's a lot of credit to Seth, and again, I want to be clear, I think Punk also looked fantastic in this match.
And I want to say, I don't want to jump, I mean, we all know the result, but credit to Seth too, like he takes the defeats.
Took the loss.
Takes the losses. Like, you think, like, look back the last few years, like how many big losses he's taken. Cody returning at Mania, taking the loss to him. And
putting over the not new, but like, a new Cody or a returning Punk, like putting over the hyped guy.
Last year, the Rock and Roman, he didn't get pinned, but he lost that. He lost 2 matches at WrestleMania this past year. Lost to drop the belt to Drew, whatever. And this big, obviously the story, they hate each other, real life, there's beef there. How they feel towards each other in the moment, maybe they've hatched things out, they're putting feelings aside to do business on screen, whatever it may be. You know what? I think it says a lot about Seth Rollins, how professional he is of being able to really put those feelings aside, and for the better of the business and like for the show and everything of it's one of the biggest Raws ever, and he was like he took the pin when he definitely could have easily won.
I'm even curious at this point to how I'm curious how realistic that, like, I'm sure in 2019 they really hate each other. I'll bet you at this point, like, maybe there's still some animosity, but
I don't think there's pure hatred.
I doubt there's. I'll bet you they went backstage, and I would put money on it that they hugged and said, "Good match, man."
When everything was happening with CM Punk coming back, there were reports of he met with The Miz to hash things out. He obviously met with Triple H to hash things out. I can imagine there was maybe Triple H was like, you two need to talk and figure this out. they're professionals at the end of the day. Even if there is a little bit of whatever, they're professional enough to be like, we can make a lot of money. We can tell a great story. Let's do this.
Again, and I 5 years have gone by since 2019. And then plus, like you said, they probably talked. I wouldn't doubt if they're like, we're cool. Yeah, man, whatever. We're adults. We're cool. Adults, but let's not let that get out to the public, because if the public keeps on believing we hate each other, we can have the best feud of the year.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's my guess.
Don't do any of that bullshit like WrestleMania 40 behind the scenes stuff that they release. No.
Don't release any videos.
Let them hate each other on and off the screen 100%. And let it roll. Let it roll.
Another thing, something I noticed in the match, Punk is, which I've never really taken to notice in a lot of his other matches. It stood out here. Punk is really good at like facial expressions in the match. Like there was multiple times where like Seth like had him like about to perform a move, and Punk's like doing the shaking his head no, or like he gets picked up and he's like looking to the crowd like the big eyes, big mouth open. Like Punk is really, really good at
good at selling emotion in the match.
And that was kind of another point of why it goes to like the professional thing, and why I even think they don't hate each other, because they sold their asses off for each other. If Punk really hated Seth, my guess was he wouldn't give as much. He probably wouldn't, Seth, they did the thing where like, they roll into like the, Punk hits him with the splash, they roll in and Seth like picks him up, right?
Yes.
They did that move, and then Punk was like shaking his head and like, no. If they really hate each other, and again, maybe if Punk is, the ultimate professional, he'd do it if he hates it or not, but you would think they'd be like, oh, maybe Punk wouldn't give him as much like, oh no, I don't want.
He's like, I'll only go so far.
That's what I mean.
I'll only give you so much.
I think they both gave a lot to each other in this match.
To what you're saying, like the closing of the match, Punk hitting the GTS, Rollins like getting knocked down, then collapsing back on Punk's shoulders.
Yeah, that was
amazing.
It was a little funny, but like it worked out perfect.
It was.
He was all groggy.
He was like, he just fell on him, and Punk was just sitting there like, okay. And then I thought it was
and you could tell Punk tried picking him up like dead weight and couldn't really get him.
Maybe obviously, that was the one part where Seth's like, I'm going to make you do this yourself.
Yeah. Like and then Seth did end up helping him. Like obviously they're 20 minutes at the end of the match. I don't blame him.
They're gassed.
But yeah, this again, I was hoping for a Seth win, because I think he's the younger guy, and it's the Raw.
He's been around. He didn't leave.
Yeah, I do understand having Punk, one of your most popular superstars.
Same thing with Jey Uso.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm still pretty firmly, and I don't even believe this is going to happen, but this is my firm hope. I do hope that Seth still wins this feud.
Yes.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think CM Punk's going to win it.
I don't know what
Seth at least give me a Seth win, huh?
I wonder what they're gonna do next for Seth, because after the match, Punk was like doing the go to sleep, like teasing him, and Seth was so the feud isn't over. They're whenever they continue
the little blood on his cheek was a nice touch.
Nice touch. Someone tweeted at me and said that their prediction is that Seth like quote unquote quits WWE. It's like, fuck CM Punk. Fuck
That'd be
this.
interesting.
Comes back like a month or two later, like attacks.
Goes to TNA.
Goes to TNA, sets up another match with Punk at Mania or something. So
they do need time away, because
you want to keep this going, but like you want to you can have them do other things, but have this still looming in the background, kind of.
Yeah, it's a long time till April. And, not to reiterate stuff we talked about in past weeks, but like we were already surprised this match was happening already. Yeah, they need to do something. Like, I hope they have like a best of 3, or even if they just do a straight up rematch at Mania.
Sure.
I think they can really build to that, revisit
split it 1-1 or whatever it is. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really curious where this is going. Fun end of the match. Even this was post match, but I think it was going into. I was going to watch the press. Did you watch any of the press conference?
I saw some clips on Twitter, but I didn't like watch it.
I tuned into it for like 15 minutes, and they were like, they started doing recaps of the night, and I was like, all right, I'm not waiting a half hour until.
Yeah, I was like, I'll watch the replays.
It's just going to be Triple H on there being like, we had the biggest gate, and we had, but they had a little, they still had the cameras on in the match, and they kind of still showed like Seth and Punk staring at each other. Seth leaves the ring. Punk is getting walked up, and the announcer, I think it was Jackie Redmond.
Yeah.
is first of all, he cut a really good post-match promo, really fucking good. And then he's like, he's just saying, this is why I'm the best, and this is why I'm this, that, and the other.
46 is nothing but a number.
46 is nothing but a number.
30 is nothing but a number.
Announces he is going to be in the Royal Rumble. Stakes his claim that he's winning the Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble, obviously we got, with the Cena announcement and the Punk announcement already, Rumble is looking mighty fine.
Bro, there is like genuinely like 6 or 7 people that you can make a legit argument to win this
I'm hoping
year.
they pull it off, so I think it could be an all-timer Rumble.
Fucking very well could be one of the greatest Rumbles of all time if they do it right. They really could be.
I jumped on Wrestle Ops before we go to, we do have some stuff to cover on SmackDown. Like I said, long show. We have Rhea Ripley said that she's now past Liv Morgan and the Judgment Day. She says God. This ended tonight, which again, that's kind of the reason I brought it up.
Christ.
Roman's asked about The Rock. Cena says he doesn't quite have the capacity to demand main events. Okay, he's playing on his shit.
Okay, John. All right.
Okay. I was just making.
I don't think there was anything crazy that was said or nothing. No.
Okay.
All right.
So that was Raw on Netflix. Crazy show. Again, say what you will about maybe some storyline stuff. The Rock stuff was kind of confusing, but like Rhea winning was great. The Undertaker stuff was good. CM Punk and Seth was fantastic.
What would you
Roman
rate the
Solo
show out of 10? What would you rate it as?
8. Are we doing decimals?
You can do decimals if you want.
8.
I was gonna say 8 too on the dot, just because like there were like the Drew McIntyre result was the one I was like about.
But ultimately, like I had a ball. I had a good time, which I think is more important than anything else.
I had a fun time watching the show. I mean, again, people were complaining about the amount of matches there were, but like again, it's the debut episode. You kind of have to mix all this shit in for what it's worth. It didn't feel like 3 hours, 3.5 hours. It cruised by.
Well, I guess it doesn't feel like that when you don't get commercials.
I guess so. Yeah, helped.
All right, let's jump over to SmackDown.
All right, 3 hours.
It's the first 3 hours SmackDown. To reiterate what I said earlier, I think it was a really strong SmackDown that just kind of got overshadowed by the Netflix hype.
Yep.
Blue mat. Don't like it. I'm glad I'm glad Raw's mat isn't red.
Yeah, that would have been worse.
I would like the blue mat. I would hate the blue mat more if the Raw one wasn't so ugly with the Fortnite logo. Fair. Like if I had to take my pick, I'm taking blue mat 1,000 times.
You see the blue mat, and it's like, oh, this sucks, and Raw's like, oh, you think that sucks? Let me show you something.
Honestly, I'll give me one more SmackDown. I'll be able to tell you if I like the blue mat or not.
That's the thing. I think it's one of those things where I don't know if
it's different.
I'll get used to it next week, or next week's gonna come and be like, oh no, I still hate this.
Oh, one small thing, another thing on Raw, the new referee uniforms.
Yeah,
they changed from just like the black and white stripes.
And stuff. Yeah,
I like it. It leans a little too UFC for me, but it feels professional.
It blends in with the mat and stuff. Yeah, and everything.
It's not as not everything needs like the soccer referee black and white. It's fine. It's cool.
It's fine.
That was cool.
I had no issue. I had no like complaint issue about it. It's just it is what it is.
Some of this stuff will kind of breeze over because other stuff kind of happened to overshadow it on Raw. But Cody promo. Cody says he isn't cleared because of the pile driver KO gave him. Drew came out, hugged Cody, says he needs a friend, and then Kevin and Cody brawl in a very classic pull apart. Solid just to progress things. Even coming out of this, I think Drew still should have got the win on Raw. But this was we got more Cody KO stuff on SmackDown, and obviously we saw the progression on Raw. Solid.
Yeah, I think you're intertwining Drew and Kevin now, which is we've been speculating of pretty good. A potential. A potential alliance between the two because they come from similar places, justified heels. But I thought it was really funny just for him to just hug him without you. Cody is like, what are you doing?
The facial reaction was really funny.
And then outside the ring, he was like, I'd watch your back. Kevin came out and
he did say
his tweet.
Watch your back.
Drew's tweet was so funny. He goes, I just want to get a close up of the tattoo. And yeah, it is as shitty as it is in person.
It's funny he said that because like I think before I don't know. There was somewhere where Cody was talking to Nick Aldis, and it was a close-up shot of the both of them, and you got to really just look at the tattoo for like several minutes, and it seems like it got bigger.
It always seems it's
and just, I didn't realize how it like kind of touches his jaw.
It goes up. It goes up. Yeah, no, like I love him. I really do, but it really is just like what was going through your head. If it was a little smaller, it's like, okay, well, it's massive.
I saw a clip. I forget what it was on. It was some Cody interview. And he was talking about like, it might have been an old one, but he was talking about like, you know, how he went to the independent scene and he needed to make a name for himself and whatever. And he had the tattoo idea. And he said when he went to the tattoo parlor, the guy, like when they first drew it up, he emphasized it was much smaller. And then when he showed him the stencil was looked much larger, but those tattoo artist put the stencil on his neck, and then the tattoo artist went, "Do you want to look at it?" And Cody, being a little bit younger and being all like macho, like I'm getting a tattoo. He literally went, "Nah, man." And then he cut the tattoo, and he said he saw it after, and he was like, "Oh, this is like 3 times." He said his idea in his head, what he thought he was gonna get
is not
was that it was gonna, when he wears a shirt collar, he says, quote, it was gonna peek out of the shirt collar.
Like the eyes are over it.
That's what he went in
Interesting.
for. Interesting. To have that expectation and walk out with something 5 times larger.
I'd pass out when I see it for the first time. It's like, is
he
this
also
real?
Must have been getting it done. Be like, it's awfully high.
Like, why do I feel my jaw? You got my jaw. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Interesting.
Cody was just too awkward or whatever to like question. I don't know, but it was wicked funny.
He learned his lesson.
The fact that he was like, "Yeah, I wanted to peek over his shirt collar." Like,
that's a very Cody thing to say.
All right, we'll move on. Shinsuke Nakamura defeated Andrade in a non-title match. This was great. I think these two brought the house down. Great workers. I love this Shinsuke character. I'm glad Andrade is still in the mix.
Yep.
I think my 2 takeaways were, 1, Shinsuke is continuously proving everyone wrong, thinking that, you know, he's past his expiration date in ring. And then Andrade's still Andrade. So this was solid. This was solid.
Good mid-card match. Great mid-card match.
Michin defeated Piper Niven. Again, another solid kind of mid-card match, but
staying in the mix for the U.S. belt.
My takeaway is every single Michin match where she is the most underrated in-ring performer they have.
She's awesome.
Men or women. She is so good.
She's very great.
Yep. I'm curious. I think like you said, it was kind of a U.S. title match or U.S. title division match, I guess. Chelsea Green was ringside for it the whole time. I was kind of curious to see, like, I'm expecting Piper Niven to kind of climb the ranks and earn a title shot, and that's like the Chelsea Piper split.
I feel like we've been kind of getting a few teases of some, like, some disconnect or some, not on the same page type of thing.
It was something during like the celebration like a couple weeks ago. She was like, and I couldn't have done it without me, and then Piper Niven felt slighted.
I can see that being like the next like Chelsea. I want her to have a good reign, but I can see like that's who she loses it to eventually.
I could see that too. Do It Yourself versus Motor City Machine Guns ends in a no contest, but this was a banger. This is what I want out of these 4 in the tag division. These 2 put on a show.
Listen, man, just put 2 of the best tag teams that you have on the roster in the ring. Let them do their thing, and boom, let them go to work.
Motor City Machine Guns are still doing things that no other tag team does. I love when they're just like, the 2 are flying across the ring. One's like does a flip, holds the guy's head up, the other guy kicks. It's like they're so fluid in the ring.
That's tag team wrestling, baby.
They're great.
Love it.
This ended in a pretty silly way. Pretty Deadly showed up. They got chased down by Los Garzas. They kind of fought into the ring, causing the no contest and like kind of a dumb ending.
Early
but at
in
least
the night, it was like there was a backstage segment, and DIY was like basically telling Pretty Deadly, like, we have a match later, and it's like, if we win somehow, like, you'll get a match. And they're really hinting of like, you guys should help us out. But yeah, and
Pretty Deadly
it's not like
better.
they just like had DIY didn't win. It was a no contest. And Los Garzas came in. There was a lot going on.
At least the good thing here is, like, because it's a no contest, we're gonna run it back. Maybe on a larger stage. I don't know. All right. kind of what we've been waiting for here. News of SmackDown. This was fucking awesome. Nia Jax defeats Naomi.
And a great match.
First of all, these two work great together. Again, Nia keeps on improving every single match. Also, props to Naomi. Naomi picked up Jax for a Samoan drop that was sick. And then we got Tiffany run in the middle of the match. Tiffany runs in. Candice LeRae kind of says like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?"
The hell?
Tiffany throws the ref over the barricade, which this was because this would be like the sixth time we've gotten like the Tiffany Stratton run in, and then the swear like either Nia catches her or she doesn't cash in, whatever. Perfect to play this as another instance of this. She threw the ref over. Okay. She hits Naomi with the briefcase, helps Nia Jax win.
Yes.
And then just a fucking double swerve.
Yeah.
Tiffany hits Candice with the briefcase. And then Nia Jax. Bianca Belair, which I didn't mention, was kind of in the mix already with Candice LeRae. Bianca Belair hits Nia Jax with a KOD that was already fucking crazy. Tiffany Stratton then takes out Bianca, officially cashes in, hits the prettiest moonsault on a down Nia Jax to become your new WWE Women's Champion, Tiffany Stratton. It's Tiffy fucking time. This was genuinely one of the best cash-ins I've ever seen. It's the best women's cash-in.
It was very well done. It was very well done. Yeah,
to outsmart everyone in the match, take out people, and like to kind of like you have to.
The double swerve was
was good. She had to step over fucking laser beams to like, okay, I gotta trick this person, gotta take out this person. Like she worked
thought it
the
out.
Fucking cash.
She thought it out. Yeah, man.
This was great.
Definitely one of the best cash-ins, I think.
I really
very
think
minimum recent history. I think it was the best women's cash-in probably.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it was just very well done. They did it, from the second she won the briefcase to now. They did a great job of her just like, toying it around, making it pink, putting everything on it. I hear there's reports that they are going to add some sort of pink texture to the belt for Tiffany, which I think would be amazing. And yeah, dude, I mean, it was 2024. She debuted on the main roster from Elimination Chamber on. We knew she was going to be a star. And here we are. It was end of was it 2025 this episode of SmackDown, or was it still? No, it was 2025.
Yeah. This is our first episode though. 2025.
First episode 2025.
I meant to mention that at the top of the show.
Yeah, welcome.
Did not.
2024 was the year of Tiffany's rise to the top. 2025 starts off with her winning the belt, and I love it. I can't wait for this reign.
I love that they did it on a SmackDown too. Like they didn't do it if you like a PLE. It's always in the we're always predicting it and like okay, we get an extra point for Tiffany, whatever. Doing it on a SmackDown, especially because you got to compete with Raw,
and it's the first 3 hour SmackDown, making a big deal out of it. You have to do
amazing, really good stuff.
And I want to give flowers to Nia Jax, especially because
agreed.
Because when she came back, and I'll speak for myself, and I know people on the internet, there are some people the same way, like pretty critical her coming back. 'Cause it's like we think of her first run and how that went, and for good reasons. It's like she had her history of injuries and just not being the best in the ring. So when she came back, it was kind of like whatever. From the second she came back to the company, man, she proved everyone wrong. Mm-hmm. She had a she had a phenomenal run as women's champ. The whole Queen of the Ring thing was awesome. She really proved herself to be like, no, like I'm not the Nia Jax from years ago. Like I'm new and improved, and she was fucking awesome. I want to give her flowers because she had an amazing title run.
Yeah, every single match she seemed to like improve.
I don't think she had a bad match for her with her reign.
And it was like you could see her chemistry improve. Like her and Naomi had great chemistry.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Her and
that's that bloodline.
The KOD from Bianca was great. It's a bloodline chemistry. Yeah, this was awesome. Yeah. I'm glad you said that because it was a solid reign to lead into what I think is going to be another solid reign of Tiffany Stratton.
It's Tiffy time.
I don't even really feel the need to talk about new bloodline defeating OG bloodline.
Yes.
We got the bleed in from Raw. It was a fine match, nothing groundbreaking.
Who did Solo pin again?
Solo pin Jay. He hit the Samoan spike on Jay and got the win. It was like a solid way to leave off like SmackDown to go into Raw, but I don't feel the need to talk about it.
I think it was just like give Solo one leg up going into Raw, like having pinned Jay,
Yeah.
so he has momentum, and yeah, that was all it was.
Before we hop over to the Patreon, I do want to just get a little NXT preview because The Rock announced he will be on NXT,
Sure.
which is crazy. They're also going to be in LA.
Yes.
And then we also have Roxanne versus Julia for the title.
Yes.
And we have Oba Femi versus Trick Williams for the
Versus
title.
Eddie Thorpe. They made a triple threat match.
Oh, okay, all right, but it's still for the title.
Yes, still for
okay.
the title.
So it's Oba Femi, Trick Williams, and Eddie Thorpe for the title. It's New Year's Evil. Real quick before we get out of here, just a quick little. What's your predictions for every single thing? My prediction for The Rock is it's gonna be a standard out of character thing. Him and Ava are gonna have a cool little moment.
I think that's for
that's
sure.
what I'm thinking.
Yep.
Roxanne, Julia, or what do you think? What are you thinking?
I think both. I think Roxanne should lose. I think Julia should.
It's
win.
Julia's time.
It's Julia's time.
Julia's time. Roxanne seeing the Rumble.
Because Roxanne, I think Rumble should be her time to debut on the main roster. Julia lost the first one. Have her win the second one. Have it be 1-1. Move on.
And get her off TV for a little bit, which I think is great.
Yes, I agree.
The Rumble, which surprised me, time isn't real. The Rumble is 3 weeks from Saturday.
And it's in February.
It's in February,
Yeah,
but it's three weeks from Saturday. So we have 3 weeks-ish to the Rumble, or more than 3 weeks at this point. It's Tuesday. But if she loses tonight, then you get 3 weeks of no Roxanne, boom, return at the Rumble.
Yeah, I think that's
the
perfect.
move. I think that's the move.
As far as Trick Williams go, it being a triple threat match makes me think that Trick is gonna hold on to the belt.
Agreed.
Because I can see Eddie
Agreed.
Thorpe taking the pin. Oba Femi comes out of this like not eating a pin. Then
Who has the North American title? The Tony D'Angelo?
Yes,
No.
Tony.
Yes?
Yeah,
Okay.
Tony D'Angelo. There's also a match. It's Kalani Jordan, Cora Jade, Stephanie Vaker, and Lola Vice, #1 contenders for the.
I think it's Vaquer. I get it wrong every time. I get it wrong every time.
I always fuck it up.
I only knew it because you said it.
I always fuck it up.
Vaquer. Yeah, me too.
#1 contenders match for the Women's North American Championship.
Sick. Who is it again? Let me see the list. I'm looking.
Where did I go there?
I think Stephanie should be in the world title
I agree.
picture.
I can see Lola
Even
winning
Cora
it, maybe.
because Cora is so related to Roxanne. I would give it to Kaylani or who did you say else is in it?
Lola
yeah.
Vice. I can see
Yeah,
Lola
yeah,
because she's been getting some wins under her belt and stuff. So, and then there's I just had a full rundown. I think it's Dempsey versus Lexis King for the
Nepotism title.
no, the UK Heritage Cup.
Okay.
Heritage Cup.
Okay.
And then Fatal Influence versus Gigi
Yeah,
Dolan, Shotzi, and
they started out there. They had a little like New Year's Evil like promo, and Fatal Influence started out. Yeah,
evil.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's looking like it's going to be a good show. I'm excited for it. I think there should be a title change tonight, though.
Agreed.
At least one title change.
I think I'm expecting it to be Julia. I'm kind of with you, where especially with the triple threat, Oba Femi is going to run NXT.
Yes.
It just kind of feels like they're still maybe sticking with Trick as they're building up the men's division.
What I think will happen is if Trick wins tonight, I see them running back Trick Oba at like WrestleMania TakeOver. That's when Oba wins, and then post Mania Trick gets called up and boom.
But yeah. All right. Well, that's the show. Thank you everyone for being here. We appreciate it.
Long show.
If you want to hear us, answer some. We're gonna talk about some random other stuff. Probably movies like whatever.
Did watch a movie this week.
You did.
Watch,
all right.
broke
I don't
the
want to
cold,
know yet.
the cold streak is over.
I don't think I've watched a movie this year yet. I don't think so.
No.
I don't know. But patreon.com/Stache Club Wrestling to get an entire bonus podcast episode over there. $5 a month. We appreciate it. We have merch in the description. Please check that out. Please make sure you subscribe. Leave a like. Leave a comment. Leave your comments with your thoughts. How did you like Raw on Netflix? It was a controversial show coming out of it. So how did you like it? Let us know. And thank you to DraftKings for sponsoring today's episode. Please gamble responsibly if you're going to. All right, with that said, we'll see you in the Patreon. Thank you everyone for being here. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
First episode of 2025 in the books.
First of many. Peace.
First of exactly 52.
Good math right there. Yeah, I got some goals, some resolutions for the new year.
That's awesome. So I watched Squid Game season 2.
Did you?
What first WWE shirt should I get? I want to get TIFFY time because she's super hot. Okay.
Kenny Omega this time around in AEW. For what it's worth,
Give
he's
him the
healthy.
world.
I'm being dead serious. Give him a Roman Reigns-esque run for the next year or two.
believe it.
Whatever the fuck.